Hi friends, and welcome back to Rugged Mountain Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Sarah and I'm so glad to be back with you. I know it's been a while, so thank you for hanging out and being patient with me. Today I have something that's a really great fast go-to meal, and when I need a good nutritious meal pretty much in a hurry, this is what I go for. Okay, now this is simple enough. We have cabbage, and I usually don't use a whole head, but you can depending on the size of your family and how much you eat. Then of course I have some bacon, an onion, and some homemade apple juice. As you can see, it is cloudy, unfiltered. This is the best kind for you. It gives immune support. It helps with hydration. It also reduces inflammation, but you do have to be careful and watch not to use a ton because apples are high in sugar. So let's go ahead, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice up my bacon. I am going to use all of this. It's probably a ½ pound. And I'm going to slice it into like bite-sized pieces. Okay, now you may be saying, Sarah, how can this be healthy with bacon in it? But you know, bacon has gotten a bad rap for a long time. And we know that we saw our grandparents cook with it. Maybe your parents even cooked with it, but definitely I know my grandmother did. And she would have a jar on her stove for bacon fat. And I know that my mother does as well. Believe it or not, bacon, the fat from bacon is similar in profile to olive oil. If you don't believe me, look it up. It has monosaturated fat, no trans fats whatsoever. And it is full of vitamins and nutrients. Now, I'm just going to kind of break these apart a little bit. I'm not going to do it right here on the mat, but I am going to put it into my very hot cast iron skillet. Okay, now while that's frying up and making some great bacon fat for me, I'm going to go ahead and chop up half of a large onion. Now this is going to work nicely because when I chop up this onion, I'm just going to put it into the skillet with the bacon fat and the bacon, and of course it is going to saute in that bacon fat. It's going to taste wonderful. That is making some beautiful fat there. I'm just going to add this onion in and then give that a mix. The onions are really going to soak up that fat, and it is going to make them taste delicious. It gives it a lot of flavor. Okay, now while that's in our pan sauteing, we'll go ahead and cut up our cabbage. You can use red cabbage, green cabbage. I've used both and both are great. You don't have to dice this. I just kind of slice mine thin and then just slice it again. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, now that just gives you some nice pieces. They're kind of, some are this size, and then you have some longer strips like this. And of course, cabbage is going to cook down a good bit. So let's go ahead and get this added to our skillet. Now you could have chopped up some garlic and put it in with the onion. I probably would have done 2 cloves, but I didn't do that today. So I'm just going to generously sprinkle some garlic granules onto my cabbage. And I also like using some pepper. This is actually white pepper, but I've used black pepper as well. It's all good. Now here is where I will add my apple juice, because all of this is going to soak up all of your bacon fat, and you don't want it to burn, and this will also give it that bit of sweetness. Just kind of cut through a little bit of the bite from the cabbage. Now if you like that bite, which we do, you can go without, but I also think that the apple gives it a lot of flavor. If you don't have any apple juice, you could also just chop up a whole apple. I've done that as well, and it's real nice. So I just put enough in there that it covers the bottom of the pan, and you'll see it as you're kind of stirring things in. And I just kind of go from there, just enough so that, you know, it doesn't burn or stick or anything like that, and it soaks up all that flavor. So now I'm just going to put the lid on and let it cook down. Okay, so this has been cooking down about 20 minutes now. It is doing really nice. You can still see some of the liquid down there. Actually, there's a little bit more because probably sweat some out of the cabbage. And so this really is, I'm going to give it just a few more minutes, but really it is ready. But I'm going to give it just a few more minutes. I like it to be nice and hot. I don't really want a bite, a crunch to my cabbage in this dish. This is one of the dishes that I learned to eat and that I really enjoyed when I was struggling with fatty liver disease. When I was still working, I ended up contracting fatty liver disease just through lifestyle, diet, and then of course medication from that led to IBS symptoms and just a host of problems. Now, I am not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not even a nutritionist, but I do know that through things like this, through my research on food in general, I went down a rabbit hole of just researching everything that I was eating, looking at the ingredients of what I was eating. If I was getting ready to have a veggie burger, I would look at it. And a lot of things that I noticed was what I was eating were ultra-processed foods. I don't use ultra-processed foods anymore. I don't buy things in a box, I buy ingredients. Because even though that I'm not a nurse or a doctor or anything like that, I know that through my diet, slowly but surely, I came off all medications. I do not take any medication. I do not have issues with fatty liver disease. Dean was suffering from ulcerative colitis. He doesn't deal with that anymore. He doesn't take medication anymore. I'm not saying for you to stop any medication you may be taking. Again, this is not medical advice, but I'm saying look into it, because there is something to that quote of saying, food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on a plate for Dean to have his lunch. And I thank you for coming by the homestead. We are always so glad when you do. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, take care.